Is it 18th? Yeah.
No, it's the 17th.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Games, video 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 games.
It's October 17th, 2012, and Brazil has withdrawn from the XCOM project.
This is Idle Thumbs 79. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And I'm Sean Vanneman.
And we are joined by our friend Scoops.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hey, Steve.
I'm Steve. Hi.
Well, who else would you be?
What's up? Who's to say?
I think there's only
one Scoops, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm Scoops.
Oh, so you self-identify as Scoops now?
Hot Scoops.
A lot's changed.
A lot's changed, yeah,
Well,
since you hated that.
When your title is, disputed, you get into defense mode.
Who disputes
So really, the dispute is really what brought...
I think Steve is undisputed Scoops.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're on my side, because it's going to come to blows.
There's only one side.
I'm going to need as many people behind me as I can get.
So yeah, you're visiting us from your own video game development studio. Fulbright
The company?
Games? My studio is called the Fulbright Company.
Okay.
I came down from Portland because last week around this time, both Dishonored and XCOM came out and exploded my brain.
My
with
brain was similarly exploded.
The trajectory of that explosion landed you in an airplane, which was then pushed by the velocity of your movement.
That plane was actually going to Australia, but it just
went off redirected
off course and just kind of crash landed in a neighborhood in Oakland, and I just got on the BART. I was like, I might as well go over to Idle Thumbs and talk about it. This has been pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about that domestic plane crash that I caused?
Nope.
You want to talk about video games?
Yeah.
Nice. Which have you guys been playing more of? XCOM
I think we're pretty
or
evenly
Dishonored?
split.
Yeah, I've been playing much more XCOM, but these guys the other direction.
Yeah, I'm playing more Dishonored.
Yeah.
I've played some Dishonored.
I had the experience of playing a little bit of XCOM and then mistakenly starting Dishonored and thinking I'd go back to XCOM.
Then you fell down a Dishonored hole.
I was like, and
I saw you on XCOM last night.
That's right, because I hadn't played any XCOM since my first 2 hours with it until then, and I was like, I have to podcast about this.
Yeah.
Also, XCOM's really fucking good.
It's excellent.
But I couldn't play a game other than Dishonored after I started it, pretty much.
It was the same for me, but in the other direction, where I started playing XCOM and I was like, I'll go in and play, my original plan was kind of go back and forth. Let's just lead with XCOM and then alternate based on some unknown factor, maybe missions in Dishonored and then, a few missions in XCOM. And then I went in and I played a bunch of XCOM, and then I played the whole first, essentially tutorial whole string.
Yeah,
in
intro
Dishonored.
and everything. Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I just have to keep playing XCOM. Dishonored's awesome, but I just kept thinking about my squad and all the, I was pretty deep into it. So I assume the same as what you're describing with Dishonored, but the other way around.
Pretty much, yeah, where it was like, I should play more XCOM. Yeah, I'm clicking Dishonored now.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't know, I found it really, really engrossing. I don't know. So you guys, Jake and Sean, how far are you guys into the game? Because I finished it.
Oh, I'm like 4 hours in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm only a couple
I
hours
am
as well.
going so painfully slow.
But that's
I'm trying to go through
That's the right thing to do.
non-violently.
Yeah.
Me too,
Which really just means I'm the guy who has like the best intentions and then just a sea of bodies.
Emphasis on trying.
So you're
to go
trying
down.
to go through.
I don't restart. Like I have a do not restart policy.
So when things go to shit, you're just
Stabbing my way out of
throw them in the river and run away.
So I didn't really. I knew I'd seen the rat stuff in the tutorial, which is really fucking well done. When the first time they introduced the rat stuff, but I hadn't seen it again until what you're actually describing happened to me, which was I stalked a guard for like 15 fucking minutes. I'm very slow with these games. Like I get really stressed out really easily, and so I was stalking this guy very, 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 very slowly.
Yeah.
I come up behind him. I choke him out. Like, oh God, I got him. Oh my God, I got him. I got him. I got him. I got him. And I pick him up and I walk over and I climb over a ledge and I set him on these rocks. And I sit him down, and his body just starts to slide. I'm like, no. And he falls 25 feet, lands right on his head, blood splattered. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then these rats come out and just devour him. It's like slowly slinking away.
Hey, perfect crime.
Yeah.
It was those rats.
That happened to me on the first 15 minutes of the first mission, and I went, okay, I'm into this game now, I guess. But I've been going very slowly.
That was your grenade rolling down.
That was literally
the man rolling down.
It was an unconscious guy.
It's been really fun to like just lay people down very gently somewhere and be like, sleep, my quiet.
I just pile them all on top of each other because I'm playing.
You just make the snore stack.
Yeah, I'm playing non-lethally. Well, actually,
Their snore sound is the best thing.
Yeah, it is.
By the way,
Oh,
it makes
God.
me so happy.
Also, passing guards can hear it, which caused me a problem. But
yeah.
Passing guards actually hear the snoring?
They hear,
yeah. So what happened to me?
How did you detect this?
I had 5 people stacked underneath.
Who's that snoring guy?
You know, in the first mission where you have to go to that dude's office and everything and get the things out of his safe. And then you have to, okay. So it's in that guy's.
Which is an awesome section.
Fucking so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I want to talk more about it, but go ahead.
Yeah. And so I put 5 people to sleep underneath the stairs, including the maid.
Yeah.
So they're all in.
Well, of course. Otherwise she could see you.
Right. She'll snitch. So a guy is
cool.
like, somebody's sleeping over here. He says something like that.
Oh, really?
He's like, somebody's like
he's
slacking off.
Right.
And then he comes around the corner and is like, oh. And there's just 7 dudes like in a pile. So I stab him and I throw him in the pile. And I'm like, oh my God, when these people wake up and they're like, what happened? Why are we all in this pile? Why is Steve dead?
he killed you.
Yeah, he killed you, by the way.
I like them waking up and just finding the guy. What did we do?
Just in this mangled nest.
You know what would actually happen is they would all turn to the maid and say, what did you do? It would be horrible.
That maid, she's getting fired.
The maid in that area is one of my most memorable moments, one of my favorite things.
Most memorable maid?
Yes, from that fucking game. So this game, probably everybody that's listening to this knows, but it comes from the whole like thief, Deus Ex kind of lineage where there's a lot of guard conversations. You can sneak around and you hear someone talking so you know they're there or whatever, and it's like unique stuff they say.
It's enjoyable.
And they do a good job with it in this game, but sometimes they do a really good job. So, the part you're talking about is like Dr. Giovanni's apartment or whatever. It's in like the first open streets city section in the game, and it's optional. You can go in there or whatever. And so I'm sneaking around and I'm like, all right, it doesn't seem like anybody's home. And I hear a guard like talking to the maid that you were talking about, and they're like kind of arguing. They start bickering. They're like, oh, the guy's out of town.
I don't think he's played this part.
He said, well, it's optional. Okay. He was like, oh, don't touch his bookshelf. And the maid's like, well, I gotta clean the bookshelf. He'll be pissed off if I don't. And he's like, and they're just like arguing and bickering, and you're just like, all right, listening to it. It goes on for like a minute and a half or something. And then there's just kind of a pause, and then the guard goes, this is what it's going to be like when we're married, isn't it? I was like, what? And the maid goes, no, because I don't have the fucking energy for it. And then they walk off in opposite directions. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is so good. And so like at that point, that's just good writing that I didn't see coming. Like it's super good. But then, you can always have that narrative of like, oh, I can't kill this guy. He could have a family or whatever. But now it's like, I can't kill this guy. His wife's in the next room. So I'm like, but obviously I'm going to I was doing non-lethal as well. So it's like, obviously I'm going to choke them both out and put them in a corner somewhere.
Their relationship will grow together.
Exactly. And so I'm like, man, I gotta have a story to tell. Remember that time we woke up in the apartment, our necks were both really sore? Oh yeah, all the guy's stuff was gone. I don't know what happened. Turns out it was that Corvo guy after all. We had a good laugh.
Well, you're also playing like no mission markers, no...
Yeah.
Are you doing no glowy stuff in the world?
No mission markers, no glowy stuff.
The glowy stuff is like, any of these games.
That was how I played BioShock 1, was like Glint was turned off and all that shit. This time I turned off...
No dramatic underlighting?
I don't think you could. BioShock was dramatic underlighting.
Oh, I mean interactive dramatic underlighting on hot objects.
They have that. Do they?
In
Dishonored's all about that.
Oh, in Dishonored. I thought you meant BioShock.
Loot glint. I didn't know that was a phrase.
Well, they separately have Objective Glow and Loot Glint. Loot Glint is pickups, and Objective Glow is like you have to press this switch to continue the game.
Right.
Objective Glow sounds like it's paired with Subjective Glow.
Well, Objective Glow and Loot Glint are actually going to play down the street at the Homestead after this. So if you guys want to see them, they're going to be pretty good.
They're kind of like this electronic thing. It's actually cool. Right? I didn't turn any of that shit off. I did turn mission objective markers off.
Because the cool thing about that dialogue is that like him saying stay away from the bookshelf, you're instantly like, oh, there's a book on that bookshelf I'm going to pull.
Right.
And then it opens up a secret area. It's awesome.
So, Steve, have you... so I'm also attempting to play non-lethally. Have you succeeded so far in not killing anyone?
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't either.
By my own intent, yes.
No, me too, yes.
By the game telling me somebody died for some fucking reason, I'll have no idea what it was.
That's the same with me. I played through the first full mission, the one after the whole intro stuff.
Yeah.
Like the first one after you get to the hub world.
Right.
Or whatever. I was just painstakingly, it took me hours to get through, and there was one death. At the end, and I have no idea where it was.
Nope.
Where's the Dishonored replay cam?
Yeah, I only ever sleep dart, which is fairly rare, or choke, and that's it.
I mean, there are various ways that guys can die.
Exactly.
Well, but rats don't eat unconscious guys.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
They don't?
Rats don't eat unconscious guys unless they slide off a rock and their neck breaks their head.
I read a thing that said, well, then I have no idea.
According to Harvey Smith on Twitter,
did you accidentally drop a guy into a body of water or something?
I mean, that must have been what I did. Like
an unconscious guard can drown in only 2 inches of water.
Well, because something I noticed was like I choked a guy out, and I was just standing on the top of like a 2.5-foot flight of stairs, and he like just did his ragdoll forward on it, and then blood started coming out of his head. Guys can fall downstairs and die really easily. Shit like that is
I definitely didn't see anything like that happen for sure, but I mean,
well, I mean, it's hard to detect. Like the thing that I want from shit like that, and this is the same complaint I had about Deus Ex 3. Deus Ex 3 is worse because you don't know until the end of the game whether you've killed anyone. It's
I couldn't believe I did it at the end of that game.
Yeah, me either. But apparently their detection is a lot better than Dishonored's is. All I want is either for the game to tell you whenever someone dies, just do a little pop-up in the corner that's like guard killed or whatever, or just do both of these things. If you don't want to do that, whatever. But that or you can just check your stat screen from the pause menu. Like they show you the stat screen at the end. Why can't I just pause and see the list of have I killed anybody yet? Oh shit, the number went up. I think I'll load my game. Instead of like, I did 3 hours of gameplay. Whoops. All right. I guess someone died, which is lame.
That was actually the moment where I was just like, well, XCOM. Not because I'm not going to play more Dishonored. I absolutely am. But like it highlighted a really specific difference between not just Dishonored specifically, but this kind of game at all. Any character-driven game and a thing like XCOM, which is that in XCOM, it's all about decision-making. Like, the XCOM is about nothing but decision-making, period. Like, it's not about reflex or anything. Like, it's only about considering decisions, which is awesome. Like, it's really, really cool. It's really well made. It's really well designed. But you can completely fuck something up, and that doesn't really, there's no point at which that's right or wrong, like, ever. And that's true technically in this case with this, I wouldn't have to adhere to
tally of like
it's
point against
in
that,
XCOM is so much of the game is about reinforcing that things are going to go wrong, period. Like you couldn't do a flawless playthrough of XCOM, so the game, like there wouldn't be any such thing as that. So the game would never even suggest ways to do it, whereas there's an actual achievement in Dishonored for not killing anyone. But even aside from that, like your character can just straight up die in Dishonored, which again is a feature of any character-driven game with combat in it. So again, I'm not picking on Dishonored at all. I'm just highlighting like what was going on in my brain between these two games. Whereas in XCOM, I was playing classic Ironman, and my entire squad got wiped, and I'm like, well, that sucks. Guess I'm recruiting new guys for this game. Not like but I wouldn't like reload a save or like well, I couldn't because it's not allowed in that mode. But it's just really interesting to be playing a game like XCOM where that is just not how most games, especially in 2012, are made under the assumption that like, yep, you will fail enormously and that's just part of this game and like just keep going. Whereas in Dishonored, even if I don't reload a save, like I will die frequently, and then I just have to do it again.
Yeah. Where I thought you were going with that was in the XCOM paradigm, there is no situation in which you would express the intent to play non-lethally, and then the game would tell you, oh, whoops, through some sort of circumstance, your intent was not actually carried through on. You know, because like there wouldn't be this kind of like uncertainty about it, because every decision that you make is clearly fed back, and there's no like, you know, question mark to wait, how's that actually going to resolve? Which is a reason that they're very different. But with something like I want to play non-lethally and kill no one, and I'm only going to use non-lethal tools to express that intent, you want it to be as clean as it would be in XCOM, you know, like, but in Dishonored, because it has that very explicit like counter of like, you did or did not achieve this thing, you know?
Right. If that wasn't something they ever telegraphed to you, it would be probably less frustrating. If it was never a thing that the game surfaced ever, you just wouldn't. You would just personally, you might have that goal, and you would personally know if you completed it to your own satisfaction.
Yeah, you would think that you had. You would assume you had. Whatever.
Dishonored having, when you complete a mission or a level or whatever, it puts up the tally screen that shows how many
chaos
deaths
and all that stuff.
Yeah. Does that's obviously built for people who are diehard looking glass, don't kill anyone people. But I imagine there are people who pick up Dishonored who don't really know about the paradigm and the history of that sort of game, and when they see kills, wonder if they can max it out.
Probably.
And does Dishonored go the other way?
Yeah, but that's totally valid, right? Because in Deus Ex 3, my first playthrough was non-lethal, and I succeeded in not... Well, other than boss battles, which are not workaroundable, unfortunately, I didn't kill a single person the entire game. And my second playthrough, I pretty much killed every single moving person in every level that I played.
Does Dishonored... I wonder if that UI screen seeing a 0 communicates very clearly I killed 0 people. Yeah. But if you kill everybody,
it probably not.
There's a checkbox under it like that says no one killed, and it's just like unchecked if you've killed anyone. So that at least expresses.
But there isn't maximum murder recognized.
Killing every spawned human.
But at least does say like. We'll pay attention if you don't kill anyone. You know?
Right.
Also, this is a really weird, specific technical question, but do you guys know if there's just a cap on the number of corpses that can exist in the world, or like unconscious bodies? Because there were definite times when I put like indoors in sealed rooms with no rats.
Exactly.
I piled a bunch of guys and would come back and there'd only be one there, and there's no way rats ate like 6 guys.
No. I was wondering if they woke up and walked away.
Yeah. No, they don't wake
that was
up.
The first time I experienced
there must
that.
be they must.
I think it's just corpse calling. Just for physics.
Because you can bring a number of more corpses into an area than they would have spawned that many actual guys there. Like there might be a chunk of the level that they only intend 3 guards to be in there.
And I think the way they look at it, I would assume, I mean, the thing that makes sense to me anyway is like once someone has been either knocked out or killed, they are out of the equation. Like sleeping guys will never wake up again. Right, so the only thing that you're removing from the equation is like, that guy's unconscious. He'll never be back in play. He can't be woken up. The only thing you're deleting is now you can't go shoot his unconscious body in the head. But like who? That's fine. I'm assuming
the thing is though, the corpses do serve a purpose in that they can be seen by other guards.
Yeah.
So maybe it waits until you've either a certain period of time. I don't know. Well, one could find out easily.
Yeah. My guess is it would be how many corpses there are in the world, and then just your distance from them, and that you're not looking at them. But like, I don't
know. This is one thing, totally aside from anything we've been talking about, but just to make sure I say this at some point during this podcast. Like,
I love video games.
Yeah, these games are really good. Yeah. Both of these games are so incredibly good. It's kind of shocking to me, actually. These are some of the only kind of big, large team games that I've actively looked forward to in a long time, and I don't really think I've been materially disappointed by either of them in any major way. I mean, obviously, there's little things I would change here and there if it was a magical, like, hypothetical world, but like these are amazingly well-made games that I've like played hours of each of them and have enjoyed enormously. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me, though, to be honest, with Dishonored, because it is amazing. It is so well made. It is such a well-constructed game. But, like, oh, man, I'm not, like, sucked back into the world. It's so weird to me. Like, I just don't have this sort of compulsion of, like, I got to go back there and see what's next. It's so much fun to play, and I'm boggled by how well all the little things in the game are executed. The fit and finish of the game, the stuff that's so hard to get right. I mean, you know this, Steve. Like, that stuff is... like, it's actually shocking to me. Like, I stopped playing the game, and I think, knowing what I know about making these things, what it takes to get there, and I'm just blown away. But I'm not at all compelled to be in the world or be this guy at all. Which is really... Like, once I'm doing the stuff and telling this... Like we were talking about, we started the episode with, like, that is... the mountaintop. That stuff's really great.
Yeah.
But the lows are really low for me. When I'm talking about...
Yeah.
When I come back from a mission and I'm talking to those dudes at the bar about whatever is next and the sort of interpolitical dramas of this world. And
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the stuff that's not
it's
Also
really
just
rugged.
You don't like going back to the hub bar? I like the hub bar.
It's
I like
cool,
it, but
it's just the through line of the stuff is... There's also just a lot of weird artistic things I'm not crazy about, like how pretty much every female character wears... like skin tight clothing, which is just a video game thing that I wish people would get over at this point. Like, there's some guys can wear big trench coats and stuff, and like, why doesn't the Empress wear a dress? Why is she wearing like skin tight clothing her whole body? It just drives me crazy.
There are no skirts in the entire game.
Why?
Probably because they realized putting a skirt on a character that can arbitrarily ragdoll after you've knocked them out will not be good ever.
You can't kill the Empress, and also there are men with long coats that would theoretically in the real world flow around.
Right, but in the game, I will bet you that they have a slit up the back and they're actually glued to the backs of their legs. I mean
that's what I would say. I mean, we can't build.
And so my guess is that it's a stylistic thing where they were like, all right, women in our world don't wear skirts. It's a technical thing, but we've made an artistic decision to say that's something that's true of our world because it's going to be true of all the characters you see in our world. And they were like, all right, so the Empress wears pants.
It's the same reason all their hair is up.
Yep.
So they don't, like, when they turn their head and stuff and they ragdoll, their hair blocks don't clip through their shoulders.
Yeah.
But oh man.
It's still frustrating, though.
Oh, no, it's incredibly
It's a problem I
frustrating.
wish people would just solve, because I feel like it's just one of those things that I understand
You can
there
pay
are
for
technical
Havoc
things, but
cloth
like,
and hair and stuff.
but just
and
in
then
general,
try to
it seems
maximize
like a thing that like broadly video games should probably figure out. Like, how do you not have to make that choice all the time? Like, I suppose
there are no women except the prostitutes in that one level, who
the prostitutes and the French maids.
but none of the characters, even the prostitutes in that one level, have like exaggerated proportions. Like, there aren't any big boobs in the game. I don't think any of the female characters wear like cleavage or anything. You know, like which I thought
I actually
was cool.
agree with both of you in a weird way, even though it's hard to find the middle ground. But yeah, actually, I don't necessarily. I agree. In a lot of what you're saying. Why?
I don't.
But I had before we went on the jag about the women, I had something to say about
just the world and the.
I thought the setup was like, I've been forgiving it the further I get away from it. But like, those guys show up and I'm like, no, dude, don't worry about it. Some ninjas just blinked in here and fucking murdered her. Don't worry, these guys just blinked in.
In a world where ninjas can blink in, maybe it's fair for you to say, okay, ninjas blinked in.
Yeah, and they're like, go to jail. Like,
we have blinking ninjas here. We know that these guys can do this. No one else has been murdered by this means before, even though we have guys who can just go.
Because I'm going to be able to blink in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a sick dream, and then I'm all over the place.
It bummed me out that you got that shit in a dream, and it wasn't that you were.
I didn't get that at all.
You got to go to like magic school because you're a super famous. Like,
I wish you could have gone to magic school.
I just mean like.
I wanted to go to Wizard University. I didn't get to meet a wizard at all.
If magic just exists in this world and there's other people who can blink around, like
what if they all get it from dreams?
Why?
Because everyone has the dream, capital T, capital D. But
why can't it just be a thing people learn?
I don't know. But when you pointed that out,
I'm so loving it.
I know. Why couldn't he just go to magic school?
I just like, it seems like there was, I don't know.
The side effect of you learning to blink so fast that I wish would happen is that someone would see you blink and then go, oh, well, you clearly killed that lady.
That would be hilarious.
Like, oh, you must have just blinked in. Why couldn't I even blink then? Yeah. Sure.
Like you just learned it in a dream or something.
We've all gone to magic school. I didn't even go to magic school. He didn't go to, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I just want to reinforce that.
No. Again, I like it a lot. It's really, really great.
Although I did think it was hilarious when you get to the hub first time, and everyone's like, all right, you got to go see this guy who makes just the most amazing weapons and armor and devices. Like he's going to outfit you with just the most incredible stuff ever. And you get there and he's like, I'm going to make you the most incredible mask. This is going to be the most finely crafted mask. And he takes it out and there's just fucking like screws coming out of it and like shit bolted on. It's just like a pile of shit that the guy like glued together and sticks on your face. I don't know. That cracked me up. After all that shit's built up for like 5 minutes straight as like just master craftsman, because here's what I made.
He puts it on you and then he adjusts your eyes and he's like, so you got any money? Then he just asks you to start paying for shit.
Because this thing doesn't come off unless I say so.
You got any money? Because I can make you some stuff.
Let me tell you now that it's on there. Fucking sucks.
Like, is it supposed to make you blend in? Like, what is the point of this mask?
It hides your dishonorable visage.
It does hide your dishonorable visage. Alex, that garbage guy. It's that guy with that exquisite mask.
God. Oh, if you surprise somebody and then right before you went and stabbed him, like as the sword's traveling towards his neck, he just goes, nice mask. Fuck you, buddy.
I'm sure you could make that happen by. So, have you guys gotten to the Boyle Manor party yet? Anybody?
No.
You go to a party and it's a masked ball.
I heard it's really good.
So you go.
This is the part you really like. A lot. Or no, this is the part you were talking about at that place we went.
I played it at PAX at QuakeCon. So, okay. But a number of times you go up to some random person and they say something along the lines of "nice mask." So you could totally hear them start to be like, nice, and then you just hit like the time bend and like, like as your knife goes in. Nice, like what? I really like the mask you've got. What's the knife going in slowly?
I got it.
But that's the fart coming out.
That's the sound
slowly.
of the knife.
Don't know about that, Jake.
I feel like I should start this game over, or not start over, but just continue from where I am.
I thought you were going to say start this podcast over.
I feel like we should really take another stab at this, guys. No, I feel like I should give up on the non-lethal for a while, I feel like, and then get through the game, understand the systems, and then go through again.
That's exactly what I...
Yeah.
That's the moment, the aforementioned story happened, I went like, well, fuck non-lethal.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing of just, I'm going to go okay, I murdered that guy. Like, he was like the fourth guy I found. Okay, also killing guys. Just going to figure this out.
I'm spending so long going through each level at this point. Which is fine. Like, I have no problem doing that at all. But if I weren't playing XCOM, it would be fine. But like having two games that I'm trying to play and then having one of them, I'm moving through like just by my own
super slow,
by my own complete volition, just like a snail's pace.
You should
never actually finish this game. I just go murder everybody. Oh, I do. I blink a lot. No.
Also, do you? I guess you're probably not far enough. If you upgrade possession to human level, it's really good because you can just possess any guy. And then
you warp them, right?
Yeah. Well, your body disappears. You inhabit them basically, and you can just walk them into a corner, and then back out of them, and you're standing right behind them, and you just choke them out. So between like being able to blink behind guys that are like patrolling and just not even have to cover the ground, just like blink and then choke them out, and then another guy is actually looking at you, so you can't come at him from behind. So you just possess him and walk him into a fucking broom closet and then choke him out. It's really good.
Yeah.
Just like, oh god, the feeling how well they supported in the entire game is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
The movement is unbelievably
it's so good. Yeah,
like
freakishly good.
I had this amazing experience. The other demo level from QuakeCon was the Sokolov level. Like you have to get to this like greenhouse thing that's on top of a building, and in the full game you start on the other side of the district and you go through a bunch of like abandoned buildings that are crumbling and whatever. So it was like, I went through all these buildings and then I went all the way up through this tower to the top of the greenhouse. It took like an hour or whatever like that, and then you have your gadget called the heart, where you can see where special items are in the world. Just shows you. And I'm like, oh fuck, I left a rune all the way back at the beginning of that hour of gameplay.
I'm skipping a lot of this.
And then I was like, all right, I've got double jump and blink, and I just like double jump, blink to a balcony, blink to a pylon, blink to the roof, down to the broken apartment down to the place I was trying to go, and I covered the entire fucking level in like 6 seconds. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh, it felt
it's like
so
Mirror's
good.
Edge stuff where you're just
Yeah,
that's always great.
that kind of like because once you know you've cleared it and there's not going to be guards that are going to see you doing this shit, you're just like and you're fucking 500 yards away. And that's
hey, one thing to ask guys, you guys who are trying to do it non-lethally as well, is there any reason to just not be in dark vision 100% of the time? Like I'm just always in dark vision.
I just don't like the way it looks. Honestly.
No, I know, but that's the only reason.
There's no mechanical reason I can figure out because you can just go into dark vision and then switch to a different power and then use that power and it doesn't
do
turn
like
it
a
off.
constant drain.
There's no mana drain.
It drains your mana down temporarily, then it just recharges within a few seconds.
But it's not a constant drain while you have it on.
No, it's not at all.
I hardly use it at all.
Cost
I would just lean around corners instead of using
I like the way the
dark vision
game
most
looks
of the
too
time.
much to use it all the time.
Yeah,
That was the same with me with Arkham Asylum.
I almost felt like I was exploiting it. If that makes sense, the thing you're describing.
No, I know. I kind of
so
does
I
for me
stopped
too, but I'm
doing
like,
it because I was like
that's another reason I kind of want to maybe not try to do it non-lethally because I can't, it's hard for me to justify not having it on, even though I prefer obviously how it looks without it. But I'm like, it feels so high stakes that I'm like, well, the game's giving me this tool, I should use it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to make it better for me and for these guards who are not going to die if I can prevent it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's not really a problem, I guess, but it seems odd that they don't like make it a limited resource at all.
Yeah. You're going to say something, Jake? You were talking about Arkham.
Oh, I was just talking about. It's the same thing with detective mode in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that was even crazier because you could it was a toggle you just leave on. You didn't even have to recast it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm surprised it's the kind of thing.
They fixed that in Arkham City.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they had a million discussions about this.
No doubt. Yeah,
but I always wonder why they don't make something like that a hold. Because then it's like, okay, you have to hold down left trigger to do this thing. So you're pretty much just going to sit somewhere, scan around, and then let go of the button so you can use your powers again.
Or even just do it when you switch to a different power, it turns off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could run around with just that and your blade out, and that makes, this is going to sound stupid, but like practical sense to me. Like if I am a guy who went to magic school and have this suite of abilities, I can just focus and keep one on while I have my blade out. But the moment I'm going to focus and do something else, that one's going to go away.
Yeah, well, that's
because you can blink with that.
You
can blink with that thing on.
Yeah, but you can also turn on time slow and then use any other power while time is slow.
Right. Yeah,
so
totally.
like, I think for consistency's sake, it wouldn't really make sense for that. But like, I don't know. I'm guessing they just wanted to say, hey, if this is how you want to look at the game, like,
or a cooldown on it or something.
Go for it.
I mean, it's it's fine. The thing I do wish you could do, and I'm sure it would be a frustration from an interface standpoint, especially on console. But what I really wish is I could.
School.
What's that?
Aside from going to magic school.
Aside from going to magic school, yeah. Because I just never.
It'd be a pain in the ass on console. Have you ever tried to go to magic school with a controller?
Well, Connect Magic School.
Oh, that's true. Probably that's a game.
Yeah.
Because I just the way I'm playing, I almost never use my right hand weapon. The only time I ever use it is occasionally to fire a sleep dart, and that's it. I wish I could just have another power in there. Like the things I actually use are my spells, not my weapons.
I have the sleep dart out pretty much all the time, just because it's my get out of jail free card.
Same.
Like I went to fucking Piero's factory, and he'll give you an upgrade that makes sleep darts work instantly on anyone, even if they're aggro at you.
Yeah, it's really good.
And so it'll be like, all right, sneak in. And then one guy turns around and sees me and goes, oh! And he just falls over and goes to sleep. I'm like, all right, we're good. So like 90% of the time I don't have to use it. But if I'm like about to get made by somebody, it's just like, go sleep. All right, cool. But they made sleep darts really rare, or like appreciably rare, so you can't just rely on sleep darting everyone, which I thought. No,
I don't.
Nice.
I still try to use it rarely.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just like, all right, just sleep dart everyone, I guess. That's the game.
It's just like
sleep
killing somebody. Yeah.
It's
God, I killed all those dogs. I killed so many dogs. I didn't. The design of this is my entire logic behind it. The design of the dogs is so good, both mechanically. I think it's really just well executed mechanically, but just physically, they just look really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they kind of gross me out, so I didn't want to touch them. And I also didn't want to see if I could choke them out, so I just murdered every dog.
You can't choke out a dog.
I could totally choke out a dog.
Well, maybe you could. Corvo Atano cannot choke out a dog.
He refuses.
He has to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
I killed every dog I saw. They gave me the willies.
He's honorable.
I killed every dog I saw.
I don't know. Give me the
I would trank dart those dogs.
Well, they freak me out more than humans do because the AI, like just the regular.
Well, they can smell you.
Well, yeah. The regular dudes, though, like, you play a lot of video games, even just only playing this video game, you know how they work. Like, they're in every level. They walk around on a thing, and that's it. The dogs, I just have no idea. What do you do? Like, what did they... When you aggro one of them, do they just fucking freak out immediately? Like, what...
Can they climb?
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to test those waters. Like,
I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
I don't.
I feel the exact same way.
And it's good.
That's
like, it's cool.
killed them all.
It's a good reaction to create in me.
Can I
no,
tell,
it's perfect.
I
killed them out of fear. Like,
I just avoid them, like, strenuously. I've not engaged with them at all in any way.
Oh God!
Can I tell a stealth game dog story?
Yes.
It's from a different stealth game with
What?
dogs. So the reason I was thinking
dogs.
You got to sneak up on those little bastards. So something that I noticed about this game is, like many games, when an AI wants to open a door, they just walk towards the door, and then the door opens telepathically. And also there's dogs. And the thing it reminded me of is in Hitman Blood Money, the same thing is true. Patrolling guards just open doors with their minds. But there's that one level where you're like supposed to kill the like porn magnate old man guy who's like in his penthouse as a Christmas level, so he's up in his penthouse and he has this little tiny yappy dog that is mostly there just to like see you and alert people or whatever. So I snuck up and I was hiding, and then I pushed him off the balcony or whatever, and the little dog just sees me, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to kill that dog because it's garbage. Like, why would I bother? I'm just going to follow it. And so I just follow the dog, and it just turns around and runs through the bedroom, and I close the door behind me, and it psychically opens the door. like this little 8-inch tall dog just stops for a second, the door opens, it keeps running through it, runs past, opens another door, and then just runs up to a guard and starts yelling, barking at the guard. Right, and then the guard comes straight to where I was. And I'm just like, that's amazing. They just took a guard and then just put the dog mesh on it. Yeah. That's really good. It made me happy.
It's good that guard just had a full Lassie moment of, what? Hitman's here? On the balcony?
Stealth games are cool. They're hilarious.
It kind of goes without saying, but Dishonored is one of the nicest looking games that I've played in a long time, I think.
Yeah, it's their environment art is off the charts.
The characters sometimes drift into weird, super shiny Unreal Engine guys zone, even though they all actually have some pretty good stuff in their design. But the world design in that game is just out of control. The architecture is beautiful. The painted textures are nice. It's really nice to play an Unreal Engine game that doesn't look like the surface of the moon, which like a lot of them or like the surface of the moon dipped in vegetable oil is the usual. Like everything is pitted, everything is shiny. It's crazy how flat it is.
Yeah, because they want it to look painterly, I think, and it
also just looks
like it has this matte finish kind of feeling.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
that's a
good way of putting it. Yeah.
It is. It's very matte finishy, and then but they have shiny bits every now and then. There's sort of little highlights in places, but it's used the same way that you would if you were painting a highlight on something. Like it's not used to define the form of every single shape, which is cool. It's also very clear to me, at least it seems, that these guys are Source Engine people.
Yeah, for sure.
Just also even some, and I don't know how, it's probably way common to games, but even just if you stray too far out into the water, it starts spawning murderous fish to keep you inside of to keep you penned in, which seems, it just feels like a Half-Life to me.
Yeah, and you can pick up a physics object and it'll sock it into, a little socket, and then you can fill up the whale oil tank or whatever. And I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, other people have pointed out way more stuff than I noticed, like that there are like walls of light kind of things in Half-Life, like combined technology.
Of Half-Life 2 looking stuff in there.
Yeah.
Well, looking, because they have the same art director, but like mechanically, there's a lot of similar kind of like things that exist in the world, like the fish edge metaphor, and this, that, and the other thing that I find interesting.
It's cool to see that stuff.
Oh, sorry.
It's cool to see those mechanical things blended in with the Looking Glass stuff, because I don't think of those as the same school of first-person stuff, but they work well together, it turns out.
Yeah, they're like, we can use these elements within our different frame that we make games in.
They're also not afraid to open up space in good places, like in a way. A lot of I don't mean like the super open stuff in Half-Life, but like in Half-Life 2, like Sector 17 at the very beginning has some just big open streets with nothing in them. Like the back alley behind the bar is this big open area.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go out there and it feels like a forgotten part of the city. There's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
One of the girls who was milling around in the bar went out there, and I thought I was going to follow her into somewhere secret. She just went out there and like had a cigarette and came back. But like I found this moment of possibility for the space, but it just felt they're just not afraid to just put a big, good-looking thing somewhere and be like,
yeah. I mean, and visually you were talking about the environments, but one thing that I did notice and thought was cool and interesting, like in the character space, I feel like most of like the male characters just have very like caricatured faces, you know, like the main guys that talk to you, one's the scarred war veteran dude and the other's like the dandy kind of you know guy. But in the hub there, the two women, Callista and Cecilia, one of them's like a rebel person, the other one is the maid, or she ends up taking care of Emily when you bring her back there. But they both just have really good, interesting looking faces. Like I don't know, I appreciate the fact that somebody cared enough to make characters that looked like unique, believable human, like people with features that don't look like they're cookie cutter or idealized or whatever. It's like those people actually look like the kind of interesting features you would see on a person on the street. And
the visual design is super solid. It's also, and admittedly, I'm still early in the game, so maybe this is where most of the money is spent, or I've seen the parts that they show in demos, but this game, more than many that I play, just every time you walk around a corner, it feels like they built it knowing that you would be walking around a corner, and that it feels like you walk into a concept painting every time you go around a fucking corner. But at the same time, the spaces are all incredibly explorable in a way that Valve games often aren't.
Yeah,
and it's really nice. It's not a thing that I ever think people actually pull off. Like you either have the game that looks exactly like your concept art, but that's because it's designed to only be experienced from the same. From where the concept art was painted, or you have a game where the concept art is beautiful and then the game looks like a UE level after a while, and you can just start to see really clearly where all the things are bolted together. But Dishonored, the balance is really nice.
I feel like the other example, and probably something they drew from a lot, was BioShock, which had similarly open structure levels, and whenever you came into a room, it was just beautifully, dramatically lit and dressed and everything.
It was crazy to see how much, or just not to see, but it was crazy how much this game visually reminds me of BioShock Infinite. Not because they actually share like a lot of really direct.
It's a lot of really bold, simple colors and huge sunlight.
A lot of color palette similarities,
and also like Victorian steampunk. Like they do have a lot of specific conceptual similarities.
I guess that's true. Although that's not the stuff that I'm actually thinking of as much. Like
both of those things
made
almost
me think that kind of caricatured kind of male face kind of look is a strong thing, and like a lot of the flatter color. Like I feel like BioShock Infinite has much more of that flat approach to it than BioShock 1 did.
Right.
Like BioShock 1 is a lot more normal mappy and shiny and like deep colors, whereas Infinite and Dishonored both have a bit more of a washed out look that I think
they're
is
really
strong.
airy. I would say. And I think part of it is just bright sunlight kind of stuff.
That's true.
You know,
Speaking of that, it's funny that you can tell that last year is the year that Epic turned on the ability to have procedural god rays come out of it.
I know.
Every fucking game starting last year, starting with like, what was it? It was a Bulletstorm or whatever that game was. That was the first game that I remember seeing you playing it, Chris, I think.
That was one of the first ones that implemented.
And it was just like, you could tell that they were like early in on that because...
they're Epic. Yeah, did Bulletstorm.
Yeah. Just right off the bat in that game, you're just looking through slatted window after slatted window with the sun coming through. And then, like, you saw every Unreal Engine developer go, what's this button do? Tick, 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 tick. God rays everywhere. And
though I've got to say, it looks fucking good.
It looks good. It's so good that it's used everywhere, but it's like... Yeah.
I mean,
2012 is the year of the God Ray.
And 2009 or whatever was like the first time when we were playing goddamn Far Cry 2. And you'd be looking at a goddamn tree and the sun setting behind it. And you're like, holy shit.
Man, I just got to say.
And Tropico 3.
Speaking of Far Cry
2, I'm going to speak of it, if that's okay.
No,
Steve.
You can and should. Call me Scoops.
There's the...
Fuck.
There's the Far Cry 2 thread on the Idle forums, which was started by Jake in 2008, and is like in the last couple of weeks has suddenly I'm not sure why, but like there's been a big resurgence in that thread where people are just posting all their gorgeous screenshots.
They saw those God rays in Dishonored.
That game
they were like,
still looks incredible. Like people are just posting all these amazing moments from the savannah. When someone on the forums must have restarted a playthrough and gotten other people to restart as well. Because people have just started telling them new Far Cry 2 stories in the last couple of weeks. And there's just amazing stuff. That game is still crazy.
So this is the Idle Thumbs podcast.
No, Steve, this is Idle
This is Idle Thumbs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know that to you, it's the Idle Thumbs podcast.
I've never done this before. Do you guys want to take a break and then talk about XCOM?
Yeah.
Video games. Come up closer.
Just come up. There you go. Oh.
Sick jump.
What a weird guy Jake Rodkin is.
Oh, no.
What a weird man Jake Rodkin is. What a peculiar man, Mother. Why does that man look like Big Bird?
Video games.
I built it in March, and it's like, uh-oh. What, guys? Whoa.
The first step to your computer becoming Marek'd Bronze.
Oh, fuck, my computer's getting Marek'd.
God. Oh, fuck.
A computer becoming Marek'd is
fuck,
really
guys.
Fuck.
Whoa.
Video games.
I intentionally jump out of the glass side of the window. Like an XCOM agent.
Seg.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
It was fine.
No, yeah. The XCOM guys who avoid a fucking door to crash through the glass window
Just
next
to, like,
to it.
nonchalantly saunter through a plate glass window.
Yeah.
I love how just zero effort it requires. Just anyway, just gonna just.
God, even in the fucking tutorial, that was like my first impression and only so far impression of XCOM because I haven't bought the game yet. Was just these guys are fucking extreme, but like it's stupid. They're all so stupid. But like. The first thing that happens is instead of opening a door or even kicking down a door, a guy busts through a window with a fucking kill cam, close up, extreme. Oh, it's so good.
They don't do the close up stuff in the actual game.
Sometimes they do.
Well, not with that. Well, if they do, I turned it off then.
Well, maybe you did.
I did.
That would be why they didn't do it.
Yeah, I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, sometimes like just if you sprint or whatever, or like whenever they kick a door open, they put a kill cam
Okay,
on.
yeah, I don't see any of that stuff.
Does it always do the thing in the tutorial where their foot spawns through the door first?
I don't know why they.
Why do you put a close up kill cam on your otherwise far away game if you're then going to draw a foot fucking flying through the door?
And why don't you make the animation 6 inches back? Always, you can't see them on the other side of the fucking door. It doesn't have to actually make contact.
It's actually a setup for the Sam and Max gag where Sam really excitedly wants to break down a door, cop movie style, and then his foot just goes through it really awkwardly, and then he screams in pain and slowly pulls his foot out, and then the door creaks open. That's alternate
they
wacky
cut off
take.
the animation before that.
Yeah, they forgot part of that. It's too bad.
They'll patch it.
I guess we're back.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're back.
Welcome back, XCOM.
Welcome back,
XCOMneers. Like that sounded like you were talking to kids.
Back. With our friend Scoops. I was going to say Patrick.
Pause. Oh my!
What?
Chris with the Italian
Patrick
Spider-Man
Ewing.
face. Oh,
His court nickname is also Scoops. It's weird.
really?
Yeah. Fact.
And his real name is also Patrick?
Weird.
Like no one who's referred to as Scoops.
The rabbit hole
His
is
name
deep.
is also Scoops. That means he's the only Patrick to have that name.
That means there's only one person in the world named Scoops. Patrick Ewing.
Speaking of nicknames...
NBA Hall of Famer and Giant Bomb contributor.
Speaking of nicknames, I really enjoy playing XCOM and just seeing the phrase video games floating in huge text above one of my characters.
You named one of your guys after me? He died?
I only ever name any of my guys after you guys, the two main characters from Gone Home that I'm working on, and Lee and Clementine from Walking Dead. And if anyone dies, I'm like, all right, Clem died.
New Clem.
Hire a lady, customize her, name her Clem again.
Wow.
Because
You're Clementine now.
I should have never given you all those Walking Dead story spoilers.
Well,
The fact that you
dye
can
your
just
hair. Do it.
color your hair.
color your hair. Yeah, because the way that, like, I'll name all my guys after Idle Thumbs people, and then when somehow they're all alive, but some of them are injured, so I need more people. I'll name them after my characters.
Right,
and then
you'll
when
pinch
there's
it.
more people, it'll be like, all right, Lee and Clementine. And the thing that makes me happy is
You have no idea how happy I am right now.
Well, when we were talking,
Look at my face.
When we were talking that one time, we were talking about what's going to happen in episode 5, and I don't know what it is, but I was like, something you said made me be like, wait, are you guys going to just do like a 10 years in the future time jump? And just like Lee is like 50 and Clementine is 18 and they're just like kicking ass in the wasteland and it's fucking amazing. And you're like, no. But and then this. But I really do enjoy.
Well, now we can see what the future of their life is.
Exactly.
Right.
I enjoy Lee being a fucking laser sniper and then Clementine covering him with the plasma shotgun. And then they're just like, because the thing that I enjoy about.
They rebuild society after the zombie apocalypse, but then fucking aliens show up. Shit! Twist!
I like having characters like that have like a connection where it's just like, all right,
can there ever be?
They should support like they should probably support one another if they were just neutral game mechanics or whatever. But now you definitely want to have those two going around the map together, and one of them dies, and then the other one gets revenge on the alien that did it or whatever. I don't know.
Wait, so how would you want the game to support that? Because you decide what they all do.
Yeah, so I am more likely to make the decision to send those two characters to the same area so they can cover one another than if they were just neutral.
I thought you said you wanted the game to do something.
No. I'm just saying
stuff like that.
My brain. Yes, characters had affinity for one another in Jagged Alliance because they were all like unique. Scripted, or not scripted, but
specific
crafted characters that had unique personalities or whatever. So yeah, there were mercs that liked each other and hated each other, and all that. Mercs that were in love. You could have the two mercs that were actually like married or whatever.
Yeah,
and then if one of them died, the other one would get depressed and quit your squad. Sometimes, like they would just start crying in the middle of the battlefield, and you get back to the base, and they're like, "I'm out." They just leave your squad.
If XCOM simulated emotional connection and emotional impact from people being KIA, but the other person coming back, like if you did enough missions with Lee and Clementine together, and then on like the 12th mission, Lee just didn't come back, and there was some sort of like debuff that happened to her.
It would be they could do some of that stuff systemically.
That would ruin people though.
But it would be great because it could be like, okay, we track stuff like when this character kills an alien that has the other character suppressed. That character now likes them more, or that kind of stuff. Like they're saving each other's asses, or when they like bring each other up with the med kits or whatever.
If someone adds the love mod,
Firaxis traditionally supports modding really well, and that's a thing that you could. I mean, presumably would just be really straightforward.
That would be really cool.
I would love to do that if a character could be like, that guy used a med kit on me. I'm more likely to like I get a buff when we're both targeting the same enemy or something.
Does this game has like procedural squad radio chatter, right? Like characters say things.
Well, they say he's got me pinned down, or I'm taking fire, or I got him, or whatever. Yeah.
Is it still?
They don't really react to one another though.
Is it as hard and sort of generic military in the rest of the game as it is in the tutorial?
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing to me. I haven't played enough XCOM to know, but I was really hoping that if these guys were going to talk, that their responses would, I guess, be more like Lovecraftian. I don't even know what, like, just like the feeling.
They can get like they can panic because like if someone can be killed right in front of them, then they'll freak out and their barks are totally different then. And then they're like they'll break down and
that's cool.
Freak
but
out
it's still nothing. It's not anything. It's not inspiring. It's just like
no, it's not.
Oh, this is too much. I can't take it. Or whatever. Just not to go. Okay, to instantly go back to Dishonored. So there's the like pre-written barks or guard conversation I was talking about, but also they have systemic ones where they'll say stuff and then respond to each other.
What?
You guys heard this?
Sorry, when you said they'll have systemic barks, I immediately imagined that they were procedurally generated barks, which then my brain made Dr. Spade.
Sorry.
He is 3 feet away. Like, what? That wasn't very immersive.
They finish their pre-written stuff, and then sometimes there'll just be two guards that. One will say something, the other responds either positively or negatively. Have you seen this?
What is it like? Did you hear that? No.
No. It's
there is stuff like that though.
Well, yeah. but also just when they are totally unaware of you, one will just like my favorite is I feel like they pick two guards and decide whether they like each other or not, and the one guy will just say like asshole things to the other guy, and the other guy like pissed off about it. Like I was listening to these two guards, and the one was like, "Hey, how old did you say your sister was?" And the other goes, "Shut up." And just stuff like
I heard that as well. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Or should we go out for whiskey tonight? And they just have a array of positive responses they'll have, and so sometimes they'll be like, "Indeed, I believe we shall." Whatever. It's just weird and stilted and
I
awesome.
love that stuff. I love the fact that there's this sort of, it's sort of like they know that they're on their paths. So there's sort of these two magnets in space, and as soon as they like click together, an event happens, and then they break apart and they go do their thing. Like, that stuff is so good. That's the sort of stuff that's actually really fun to like write and imagine and create.
Yeah,
that stuff.
It's
really
a thing
cool.
that I don't know if it would fit in XCOM, but my imagined version of the between time in XCOM having some of that stuff going on, like maybe it would just make you want to kill yourself because people are talking all the time.
What between time?
I mean, just or
when
like
you're in the base.
I mean, XCOM is up to you to decide what to do, and also that game is like reasonably turn-based, isn't it?
100% turn-based.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, time between.
You mean like when you're actually in a battle, but not?
Yeah, just like
when time is paused.
Yeah, when time is paused, you could easily have stuff like that happening, or just when characters intersect. I don't know. I always like it when in a game when people pay attention to the fact that they have either empty time or a place when two things intersect and use that as a really strong opportunity to put more specificity in. And like the Dishonored Guard stuff is a really well done version of that.
I think the fact that it's turn-based is actually what makes it not very feasible, because the times they say things are the times when you like they hit a guy or something and it occurs
it's feedback
seamlessly,
only.
exactly, after an animation or something. Whereas if it's like when two guys intersect, you could have 10 minutes of nothing happening. Then right as soon as the guy moves next to you, they're, hey, how's it going?
No, that
would be a strange.
But I mean, there could be downtime idles, like somebody, like it could judge the state of how well you're doing or something, and then a soldier could be like, "We're fucked. I don't know if we're gonna pull this one out or something."
I wouldn't be into
something
it.
like that could be all right.
It might
but
be.
You can already turn off
speech. It would feel very different. Like the thing I like about the turn-based nature of XCOM is that those moments in between when I'm actually doing something they're like moves in between a chess match.
Like,
they're not.
It
like,
deliberately feels like time is paused in the world, so it's just like it's reserved for your consideration only.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It would be crazy to me if it felt like these guys are literally actually standing there for 5 minutes at a time. Like
exactly.
That's
I was
not
just
how I would want that.
The moment they start talking
all.
in that downtime, it did the sense of
time is no longer
the sense of
paused.
disbelief is broken. Yeah. I want this to feel like everything is on a razor's edge, and any time when I'm deciding something is like. That's just me like stretching out a split second of extreme tension.
Yep, it's sort of it's the adventure game problem actually that we've had like you just have making any adventure game now that looks good. It doesn't look like a flat 2D representation of what the world looks like. It's like you don't ever get the feeling that when you're walking around Woodtick and Monkey Island 2 that like characters aren't alive and doing their thing, but the moment you make them look real, they need to have a fidelity of action. Yeah. Otherwise the world just feels completely dead.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts. We talk about that stuff all the time.
XCOM
but it looks so good.
Well, XCOM looks good, but it does a good job of like just the way the camera is presented and the level of detail of the characters and just of the world. It still has a little bit of the feeling that maybe it's secretly miniatures or like it's slightly abstracted a little bit.
Well, they actually, it was an intentional art direction decision to try to make it feel like little miniatures. Yeah. Like a
it means that when time stops and you forgive the lack of fidelity.
And I love the feeling
really
of that.
good,
like the moment in between, like basically every moment in between everything in XCOM, I think is just amazing. I think there are little design things that I like or whatever I've heard people complain about that I agree with, but like I think they really knocked it out of the park in terms of the overall, like the broad strokes and then just most of the just little details throughout the thing, just the feeling of being in your base, looking around, like when the clock is ticking and when it isn't, like all the when it's ticking slowly and when it's ticking very fast, like there's all these little things that all add up to like kind of just the psychological feeling of what a moment is, be it downtime in an actual battle, be it downtime in the base, be it scanning in the base, like be it when you've found something but before you've reacted to it, like the time scale in all of those instances is different, and I like each of them works towards a specific purpose, and I think it's really
that's awesome.
Like it's really well considered. I think it's a fantastic game. Like I know I had some criticisms of Dishonored before, and I really can't emphasize enough how much I think that game's awesome, and like I just can't wait to keep playing it. But I'm having so much trouble not just playing more XCOM, which I think is so good. It's just
something I think overall is good in the long run, but that I guess doesn't help my experience in the short term is just I don't know what a good thing to do is a lot of the times, and I feel like
you're playing on normal, right?
Yeah. And I don't feel like it's a case of, oh, well, that's because all these different actions are valid and it's interesting decisions. I feel like there are optimal times to do things, and I don't know what they are.
That's exactly how I felt playing the demo.
Like right now, I can I have a thing that's just an open thing that's an alien base assault mission I can click on anytime. I guess. I have no idea whether I'm prepared for it or not. I feel like I'm probably not, but I'm like, is that the last thing you do? Or do I do it now and it'll give me an advantage? I don't want to click it because then maybe all my guys will die. Just like stuff like that. Like, I feel like you can do your research out of order and blah, blah, blah. And like, I mean, that's part of that is just a blatantly suboptimal order. Yeah, definitely. It's just it makes one of those things where it implies to me through the mechanics that it's like you are expected to play multiple campaigns until you either learn through trial and error or fucking game facts what the optimal order to do stuff in is, and I never really understand why I should have to play multiple campaigns to understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the paradigm for a multiplayer game. For a strategy game. Like, I think people who enjoy strategy games, that's what they want to do. Like, I can speak as someone who enjoys strategy games. Yeah. Like, I don't want to have sort of a canonical playthrough. I play Civilization, obviously, which is another Firaxis game, and I've played lots of Civilization, and I want to feel like I can play a bunch of campaigns of that totally differently. Yeah. And like, I absolutely feel that with Civilization. And I haven't obviously played enough campaigns of XCOM yet to be able to declare that one way or the other. But,
the thing about it is it feels inconsistent for me because in the research layer, they put those little tags on stuff that say priority and they paint them green and put like the asterisks around it or whatever, which is basically saying this is the optimal thing to do or this is the next most important thing to do. But that's the only place they do it. And so I'm like, are you telling me how to play this game or not? I think
there are a couple things that are just, I think the game wants you to know are just of extreme importance because they bottleneck other things. Whereas most research doesn't. Like, so, there's like the capture the alien thing, and that's there's a bunch of things associated with that
thing.
which include like building the actual weapon that stuns them, which includes building the containment room, etc. And those are things that like, that's a big bottleneck if you don't do those things. Whereas other things like researching, generally speaking, armor first or weapons first, I mean, I guess maybe technically there's an optimal path for that, but like, it's not going to hamstring your game if you do one rather than the other. Like, it's.
Well, what about this alien base thing? Am I supposed to assault this base?
I pretty much always just, whenever I get an event that occurs on the globe, I pretty much always do it immediately. So I don't know. That's just what I just do.
I feel like you get an alien base assault mission. Have you assaulted the alien base?
Steve, I feel like XCOM presenting you with, if you wish, you're welcome now to assault an alien base, means that you should probably just try it.
Just once.
You should trust the game that if it's presenting you with an alien base assault, that maybe it's time to fucking sack up and take out this alien base.
You motherfuckers are going to be the ones that die. So, like, sure. Throwing Remo, fucking boosts.
On that note,
famous
so I played
video games.
Oh, do you have Ninja from Mark of the Ninja in there?
Sorry, no.
Oh.
Ninja and whoever the lady was.
I don't know.
With him now.
Hopefully Ninja's nickname would also be Ninja.
I do, yeah, so I do have all three of you guys and Nick whenever I can get all of you on the same squad. And
it's very difficult.
I'm sorry, Nick always fucking dies.
What class is he?
He usually doesn't get to be one because he dies before he upgrades to be a class. It's just, I for whatever reason, I don't know if it's unconscious because of how much I dislike Nick that I just throw him into.
You're still trying to kill him and take his spot as host.
Yeah,
there's always a mic for you here. Let Nick live.
Or if it's just coincidence. But yeah, like, you know how you can customize the armor and stuff? Like, there's the one helmet.
You always give him the worst armor.
Well, there's the one helmet.
Glow in the dark.
Just visually.
They target him instantly.
There's the one helmet that reminds me of fucking Carmine from Gears of War, the character that always get headshotted in every game. And so I started putting that on Nick. I was like, Nick, sorry, you're destined to die, apparently, whenever I put you into play. So I'm going to try and keep you alive, Nick. The irony, the awesome dramatic arc will be finally when I assault that alien base, it'll be Nick.
Nick comes out alone, covered in alien guts.
who flies his biplane up into the alien laser hole.
Oh, God.
You can do it, Nick!
Well, Nick crop dusts the aliens.
Yep.
God, we've probably talked about this exact thing on the podcast because it's my favorite goddamn thing, but it's amazing that the aliens in Independence Day are running Macintosh System 7.5. Like, somehow Jeff Goldblum uses his goddamn PowerBook.
Yeah, we know. We know what happened.
We all saw the movie.
It's just, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have
That's
a really
all.
distinct memory of who is he hanging out with when he invades the alien base to hack their computers?
Will Smith.
Is Will Smith is hanging out with him? I have this really clear memory. I've only seen that movie once in the theaters, but I just remember them being hidden in that little booth that they hide inside.
They're inside their ship.
And there's this shot of the two of them just peeking their heads up over a console like cartoon characters. Fuck that movie.
Yeah, it's weird that he uploads like a Motorola 68000 processor binary to the alien mainframe and it works and turns it off.
But
it's convenient.
It's cool how Firaxis got the ID4 license so that the soldiers could say "Welcome to Earth" whenever you kill an alien.
Oh, that's true.
That's badass.
It's cool that they
I was impressed by
licensed
that.
Nick Brecken's crop dusting biplane as well. Yeah.
Also impressed by that.
What are we doing?
A video game.
Oh, sorry.
Sounds like it sucks.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Have you completed a campaign in XCOM?
I started playing through it with the characters named after each of you guys, which I posted to Twitter, which Spaff then excellently sabotaged.
How did he go and find the perfect angles of all of our faces?
Yeah, he did a good job.
They were well
That guy's
graphed.
good at photoshopping weird shit together.
Yeah,
he's very
that's
good.
true. He has been doing it for many years. And I found that I actually, so first of all, you guys all got killed at one point, which I think I actually posted a picture of that as
You
well.
couldn't deal with it?
No, I couldn't. So I reloaded a save. And then
I could deal with it.
after reloading that save, basically like the Idle Thumbs crew in that game was like completely invincible. Like still now that save game, all those characters have never died. Like, you know, they all have dozens of kills and they're all I think all fully leveled up to Colonel or whatever the highest one is.
When back in the base, they're all actually just sitting in huge gilded thrones
right.
now.
They're all lording in the barracks. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm doing really well in this game. I'm gonna start over on like classic mode, which is the harder one, with Ironman, which is just one save that you can't reload. So the game just auto saves every time you make any decision. So it just prevents you from ever.
It's a solid mode to have in that game also.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to have in there. And so I started up with that, and holy shit, it's hard. It's really hard. And so I started off again with like just naming them all after Idle Thumbs people. And after like 5 missions, just people would die so much that I have completely given up actually naming anybody anymore. Like at this point, they're all just whatever random name they have. Like that's it, because they're probably not going to be alive more than like
That's
3 missions.
fantastic, though.
I know.
Because when that guy lives for like 6 missions, you're like, hey, Ramirez, look, I know I didn't know your name for a long time, but you're good. You're a good one.
Good guy.
You're
Yeah.
a good guy.
Murdered immediately. Next mission.
Oh no, yeah, the touch of death.
That's the thing, is that like it teaches me to see my soldiers as expendable, even though I don't want them to be, right? Like I still try to not get them all killed, but like you send guys to war and like a bunch of them die. Like it's a weird thing to say, because obviously that's true in every strategy game, but XCOM is somewhere
life.
but XCOM, it's like somewhere in between a game
In
where
every
you
strategy game and military
maintain-
operation.
No, I mean a game where your character doesn't die ever in the game, or he does, but you just reload a save because you have to, because that character has to stay alive. Like any game that is about one character, it's like in between that and a strategy game, a traditional strategy game like StarCraft or
Where all the
Civilization
units are
or
totally
they're all completely
anonymous.
expendable.
Yeah.
They're expected to all die. You know, it's a squad-based strategy game, or like a lot of turn-based strategy games are like that, in fact, where it's somewhere in between where you want your individual guys to stay alive because there's persistence and like they'll actually get stronger and they're individually named and so on. But it's so goddamn unforgiving that they will just die the way that people will just die in a battle. It's a really cool, stressful middle ground that I think is really appropriate. I mean, like it's good that they included that mode in the game because it's what XCOM is like, the original one, to play. Like that's what it is like to play. But it's not like what a lot of games that I've played recently are like to play. And
FTL has a little bit of that, though, even though it's a roguelike.
It does, although I'm not nearly as attached to an individual FTL guy as I am
course.
to a XCOM
Probably
person.
just by scale of time. And
And like you make
Because they don't have those barks.
That's true. But you also like you make choices about when the XCOM soldiers level up. Like you choose upgrades for them, you outfit them individually with
choose when they
equipment.
breed.
Like you see them up close.
God, if there was a fucking XCOM eugenics program inside the base to breed the ultimate fucking soldier, that would be
Isn't
amazing.
that game? People keep telling us to play Crusader Kings 2.
Mod it.
I think that game is about dynasties and and
Oh, maybe you're thinking about how people tell us to play Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah, that Tokyo Jungle.
that game as well, I guess. But people
It's about
Have you played
dynasties.
Tokyo Jungle yet?
No, I haven't. I hate to turn on my PS3.
You should just do all the updating stuff before you go to bed, and the next day when you wake up, play Tokyo Jungle.
Nope, you have to reset that shit 3 times in a row to get it all the way updated.
But Tokyo Jungle's made for you.
Oh, I updated the operating system. Cool. Okay, I have to do it again. Great. Oh,
We all know it's a pain in the ass.
I have to update the store itself. I see. I never wanted to.
It's like you do in real life.
Fucking thing on.
You never go into like
I
a
have to
Foot
update
Locker,
my store.
and you're like, oh, I got to get the new firmware so I can buy some sneaks.
Probably in our fucking dystopian Apple-controlled
Gamified
future where you have to download an app to buy shit from a physical store, that will be true.
You talk about that like it's the future. You haven't been in San Francisco in a while. You would really like Tokyo Jungle.
I want to play it. I want it.
When are you flying
It's
back?
worth the progress bar.
I'll come over
I had
to
a
your
question for you about
house.
Ironman mode. Mm-hmm. Never played the original XCOM. Mm-hmm. I've only played the demo. Mm-hmm.
Is Iron
If I
Man for
just
me?
went straight to Iron Man mode, it would be too hard.
I mean, you could do it on regular.
Yeah, you can mix it with other.
difficulty.
Because the thing about it
I was
is-
accidentally playing Iron Man mode. I never loaded a save the entire normal campaign up to this
yeah.
point. I forgot that you could basically.
Right,
yeah.
And it's been
Yeah.
it's
The
been
knowledge
doable.
that I can reload taints a lot of my video game
No, totally.
playing.
Yeah.
lot.
Just play it on the normal difficulty.
It does make it harder to accept when you all but one of your squad dies or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh, I mean,
I could replay this.
My second mission in classic Iron Man, they all died.
Yeah.
I wiped my entire squad. There have been multiple missions I've completed where only 1 or 2 squad members have lived at the end, which is always it's always horrible when it's happening, but like it's also kind of cool. Like this one guy just brought it home and cleaned out the rest of the map himself. Like it's always a crazy thing when it happens. Although it still sucks at the same time. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
You have these moments that are terrible and also really incredible at the same time.
A few times I've had a really, really good just sort of like procedural time pressure thing came up where it's like one of my squaddies gets downed
Right. Or
when there's
poisoned
only
or
like
something.
1 or 2 enemies left on the map and I don't have any med kits. And it's like, all right, I've got 3 fucking turns.
Yep.
If I can kill all these aliens before this guy bleeds out, I get to keep him, and it's like this really tense thing. And most recently, like actually right before I came out here this morning, I was playing one where it was like, I had kind of narrowed down where the last guy must be because it was a goddamn terror mission and I had seen like a civilian die in just a dark part of the map earlier. So I was like, all right, I have 3 turns to wipe these fools out. There's like 2 aliens over here. There's got to be somebody over there. So I just start sending scouts over there and like, a turn ends, another turn ends. I finally got line of sight on the guy. If this turn ends without killing that alien, my squad is going to die. And so, like, we're taking shots on him. I get him down to, like, 2 hit points. I miss. I'm like, fuck, well, I guess you're done. And I notice there's one guy, like, fucking on, halfway across the map who still has action points left. And he has a goddamn pistol because he's out of ammo for his other weapon. I'm like, just take the shot, man. Just take the shot. And he missed, and my squad died at the end. Because he had like 15% chance to hit.
Right, yeah.
But at that point, I was like, well, we did what we could. We're going home. I'm accepting it. But it was, I don't know, that kind of stuff is cool. The game doesn't tell you, it never says, like, clear it out quick so you can save your squaddy, but you kind of do the math, and now you've made this decision that makes a lot more interesting decisions, I think, in the short term.
Yeah.
You want to do a mini ruination after the break?
Yeah. Let's take another break.
Video games.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
I don't watch that show.
It's called Seinfeld. Everybody watched it.
It's true, they did.
I didn't.
You did some.
I saw the last episode. It's
Video games.
It's for you.
It's yours. That's actually something that I think about a lot.
This is for you. This is yours.
Yeah, all the time. No, the thing I think about a lot is when you guys were like, oh yeah, just jokingly, oh yeah, that's because it's the better game. It's like, I think about it and I'm like, obviously they're so different. They're so vastly different that, and both of such high quality that saying one is quote unquote the better game is practically impossible. Like
It's also a worthless statement.
I know,
It doesn't
but
mean
I
anything.
mean, just using
Which
it
one's
as
your game of the week?
using it as a starting point, the thing that's
Yeah.
interesting to me is just a lot of times I just think about how much formal breadth there is within the idea of a video game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like-
this gets
like
to the heart of the
Dishonored, because like Dishonored and XCOM are way more different from one another than practically any one movie is different from any other movie.
Right.
Like,
You can
like
take Aladdin, an animated film, and put it up against like The Departed, and I feel like XCOM and Dishonored are more different.
because like there's tons of difference in content and technique and execution, but just like the shape of the
Space
fucking
suits.
thing
Right.
is so much different. Like
you know
the
what's
way
so
you interface with it, the way you understand it, the way it works. Because like, and they're all video games, and it's just like that's constantly incredible to
Well,
me.
the
and
funny
makes me
thing
really
about
happy.
that, I mean, you're right. You're completely right. Obviously, I entirely agree. The other weird thing about that, though, is that tonally, they're much more similar than, say, Aladdin and The Departed.
Yeah.
Like, they're both about people who kill people professionally and are sort of dark, grim worlds. And
And they're both like high tension experiences
yeah.
where you're making a lot of like interesting divergent decisions and managing kind of like the awareness of the units and all that kind of stuff. So I mean it's I don't know, but it's interesting to me.
absolutely.
I just love how much can fit under the umbrella of quote a video game. I don't know. It's amazing to think about sometimes for me. And so that's why it's awesome that they're not only, like you were mentioning earlier, two just insanely well done games that came out on the same fucking day, but that they also have so little in common, just as far as like how you play them, what they are in the core of them. I don't know. It's cool. It was a good week for video games.
that's true.
For me,
How's your week?
it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
2 sweet games came out.
Sounds like it was a good week for video games.
Yep.
And the games he plays.
Did you ruin anything while I was gone?
We double ruined. we ruined, and then we ruined it accidentally.
Yeah, so last week we did the Idle Thumbs Ruinationcast, which I'm sure everyone listened to front to back, all 5 hours of it.
I saw Soren Johnson say it took him 3 days to get through it.
It felt like 3 days recording.
Yeah. But then we realized that we ruined the Ruinationcast by not reading all of the ruins.
A few of them got sorted wrong, so we have them now submitted for your approval.
Yeah.
Some
For
ruination
our ruining.
overflow.
Yeah, so this reader mail is the Ruinationcast over barf edition.
Which basically meant, if you don't know what that was, if you backed our Kickstarter to a certain level, you were able to just give us anything to talk about, and we had to talk about it. And we did it live. You can
just
check
got
it
to
out.
choose a topic, right? It wasn't actually a full question.
It could be a question. No, some
really?
people wrote very long ones.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a paragraph long one, yeah.
Okay. I don't remember what I wrote.
It was, if I remember, it's like pretty, polarizing. So we'll get to it.
All right.
Yeah. So let's start, I guess.
The first piece of ruination.
Comes from Colin Bayer.
Colin Bayer says, Raph Coster's thoughts on single-player games as a temporary aberration.
Oh,
like human existence is a temporary aberration?
Well, no,
Well, he
within
means-
the arc
he
of human
means-
history.
Right. He means like
No, seriously.
in the eventual totality of the history of games, it was his contention several years ago, as I recall, that single player games will be seen as kind of a novelty, like a fad that
Like
came
silent
and
films.
went. Yeah, yeah. In the sense that a game, like in Coster's estimation, with understandable historical evidence and perspective, a game is fundamentally like a
competition
social
between more than
activity between multiple
one
people.
player,
That
yeah.
is right. That is some kind of competition.
That kind of gets to what Steve was saying as we smooth open to this reader mail segment, right? Though, it gets to the point of
We call that smooth opening.
we call them smooth opening. Yeah, we're replacing scoops with smooth opening.
Please stop saying that.
You're making
We
smooth
don't want
opening
Steve's
uncomfortable.
smooth opening is not a topic of discussion for this podcast.
What were you actually going to say?
So when you brought us back with your smooth opening,
Are we done?
yeah, no, I got one more in me.
You've got one more smooth opening in you?
Somewhere. What was I talking about?
I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. You ruined everything. everything.
That's the point.
That's what we're here for.
Damn
Steve.
it! Was this what the entire Ruination cast
5 hours,
was like?
front to
It
back.
was 5 hours of smooth
Opening
podcasting, just sailed right by. We just nailed it.
I'm really glad I
The
wasn't
point
here
is,
for that. And
I mean,
haven't
it feels
listened to
like that is
Steve was talking about how games can be all these crazy things, and now
Right,
we're
and
talking
now-
about how games are one thing.
look at that.
Smooth.
Boiled it right down. Smooth closing.
smoothed it right out. Right?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a problem. There's two problems. There's the hyper definition of what a game. There's the hyper definition of what a game is, and then there's sort of the. Whenever you try to say it, thousands of years into the future, 100 years into the future, it's just that you're generally going down a bad path. I think just an incorrect path. You're just gonna go
Well, I
silly.
mean, so he's
depends, right?
comparing
Because-
it to the prior thousands of years of human history. I
Where the
don't
video
know.
games didn't exist.
Well, when he doesn't separate video games from games.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
So
it's like,
games starting as a sport, as competition.
Right,
yeah,
Understood.
and board games and chess and everything else. It was always the thing that I think is, I don't know, inherently stupid about it is like the computer is a simulation of a competitor. Done, right? Like there was no single player game before because we didn't have something that could simulate the other player in a game until computers could
and
do
then-
that.
Well, also so much of video games it also
so-
falls under the umbrella of make believe, where you're sort of just a person. Like your game, for instance, Gone Home, you are just a person embodying what it feels like to be in this space and imagining you're in this person's home.
Yeah.
Well, that is the place where I
but
think.
so much of being alive is about.
But
just
that's not what a game is, and that's the place
playing
where
in
I
the
think
woods
the
and
definition
imagining
does,
you're Indiana Jones.
I think
or something like
I
that.
think the definition of game does get uncomfortable when you stretch it out to be about a place and about an experience more than about interacting with a set of
game
rules and
system,
consequences.
Well,
Like,
but at that point, I would ask like how do like tabletop role playing games fit into that? Like the game master may not always be in direct competition with the players, but
Right.
they are playing the same role as the game designer of a single player campaign
yep,
is playing.
I know it's tough,
mean,
and that's
yeah,
why I don't
they're
really care to narrow my definition down. But like,
Yeah,
if there's-
I mean, I think it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a stupid point. It's not one that I agree with, but I think it's interesting. Like, I think it's an interesting thing to discuss. Like, I think what it points to is just a difference in. I think he has just a stricter interpretation of game, like sort of Jake. I think what you were getting at in the sense that like there's a thing. A lot of single player games are only barely games. It doesn't mean they're not good things, but like depending on how strict you are about an actual like game system being employed, like a lot of them are quite thin in that respect. Like they're essentially weird, just kind of lightly reactive like environments. It's I don't know. It doesn't mean that
I
they
feel like
exist.
I feel like that when things that are very far down that spectrum are actually really rare. Like I don't know, like any single player game in which you are trying to succeed. The game is trying to keep you from succeeding, right? Like the game is your competitor in this set of
it also-
challenges.
It always,
that's a
but it
decent
wants
point,
you
I
to
think.
get to the end of it, though. Like it wants, like
Does it?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
But
It has auto saves. It has
Mario,
checkpoints.
I mean-
like
Yeah, I'm thinking about Mario right now. I was thinking about like Mario 3 or whatever. It's like
but they don't want you to
some
stop playing when you die.
No, but they also do want to.
it wants to impede you until your skill at besting it increases to the point that you can.
Right.
Right.
mean, it's the
That's
same,
just
like, would you-
fundamentally different from what it.
Would you call a
generally is.
crossword puzzle a game?
No, it's a puzzle.
So then you could basically say a single player game is a puzzle.
I think it's a lot of single player games I think are much closer to puzzles.
Like
That's interesting.
yeah, that's kind
Okay,
of
well, I mean, so maybe that's a thing. I mean, maybe that's a
I don't-
fair
so
semantic argument.
I have a thing. There's a
So XCOM is
I
a
have
puzzle.
No, XCOM's definitely
So
a
this
lot closer to a game. Like XCOM will just let you lose. Like you can just straight up lose a campaign.
But
of
you can
XCOM.
fall into a monster's mouth in Mario. You
A big
lose.
fish can eat you,
don't-
and then small
You can
fish
run
come
out of
its
lives.
mouth.
You can, I guess, eventually
And
run out of lives. I guess
Yeah, you
you
can
How's
run out
that?
of
But I mean, isn't
continues and
that like semantically the exact same?
It's. I don't think it's the same as quite the same as XCOM. I mean, it's obviously all on a continuum, right? Like this is none of this
Right.
is like hard black and white. I think it's
Oh,
different.
good
because,
job, Colin.
because XCOM. Yeah, no, really, no kidding. In Mario, what happens is you just hit a like hard. Now your character's dead. Like you arbitrarily at some point had more or fewer lives based on how well you've done up to this point. Like so, there is a bit of that attrition. XCOM is a little bit different in that you actually make decisions that that like ripple forward for a long time, and so there's this entire like complex system of like variables and like forces.
But aren't you
that
kind of
can
arguing
lead
that
to the
complexity
eventual-
changes the definition?
I think it kind of does to some degree.
But I mean, in Mario, you can save your P-wing. That's a choice you're going to make that's going to affect you later in the game. Puzzle. Like, it's like, how are those things actually, like...
I'm a bad person
Because-
in that I think... Oh, go ahead. You're going to answer that question.
I'm just going to...
I was going to talk about how I'm a bad person.
One of the things I'll say about this is that I
He
haven't...
doesn't want us to stop thinking about that for too long.
I'm thinking this through literally as it's coming out of my mouth. So, like,
it's my
I'm
entire
very
life.
much opening up myself the ability to get talked into a corner because I haven't thought this through well enough to, like, robustly
No, this
argue
feels
it.
like an
But,
exploration, by the way. It doesn't feel like we're debating.
Yeah. No, I'm just
It's not like a game.
because
Not like a puzzle.
because most of the reason I'm arguing is because I think this is interesting, not because I'm like strenuously defending Coster in this, right? Like, I think it's an interesting thing to discuss, though. But with XCOM, there is a like I don't know how to put it exactly, but there's something that emerges out of the, like in chess, for example, when you make a bad decision, it doesn't come back to bite you because later on your knight, like when you say save the P-wing, right? Like that's a thing you don't need, like you could surpass that part later through pure reactive skill, right? Like not because of a decision you made necessarily, just, right at this moment, my reflexes were good enough to get past it.
You could go through all of Mario 3 without ever picking a power-up up.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like a lot of it is test of reflex and like sort of closer to like a physical game, right? Like a sport.
Right.
I mean,
a challenge.
Yeah, right. Whereas the equivalent of those decisions in XCOM are like it's the actual like enforced rules of the world that are sort of slowly stacking up for or against you, depending on how you're doing these things. Like one individual character might live or die, but it's all part of just the overall strategy of the thing that's all working together.
Yeah, I hear you. I just kind of still argue that's a puzzle, though, because you're trying to suss out the behaviors of the system on your end so you can make choices that put you in a more advantageous position than the system, which feels like puzzle solving to me.
I guess I don't think chess is a puzzle, though, and XCOM feels like that to me. I feel like you're using the same kind of strategic planning that you're using like in a game of chess. I don't think it's as elegant as chess, obviously.
Right.
But like, at that point, then, I mean...
But I mean, you can
that means that if it's like a game of chess with a computer opponent, does that mean that it's not a single player game? We don't know enough about what Coster argued, I guess. If he's saying
I read it.
We gotta get him in here
because
I haven't read it recently.
If he's saying that something like XCOM, which is essentially a complex chess-esque set of competitive rules against a computer opponent, is not a quote-unquote single-player game, then that's a totally different argument.
That also gets into this weird space of you can design a game that you're playing against an opponent, but it's an opponent who has non-human abilities. Like a computer can do all sorts of crazy stuff that you have an asymmetrical design that's so asymmetrical to the point that a computer has to be the opponent, but but it uses the rules and systems that otherwise would be that a human versus human game would use, like the same fundamental language.
Yeah. Well, part of it, like there's one interesting thing, which is
that can spin off into insanity, though.
You can play XCOM against it. Like XCOM has a multiplayer mode that obviously the systems overlap between that and the single player mode are huge, right? Like there are some games where to make it a viable multiplayer game, you have to change a lot of the game in super fundamental ways because the computer, when you're playing the campaign, the computer is playing by such a different set of rules that it would make no sense to put humans directly in those roles. Whereas there are some games where the computer might be more stacked against you or for you, depending on what kind of game it is.
Right.
But essentially, like in Civilization is a good example of that, where obviously when you're playing against the AI, high-level AI has cheats in all kind of ways, but like fundamentally, the like levers that the AI is pulling are the same ones and a human opponent's pulling when he plays against you in multiplayer Civilization.
But that's not necessarily true of like a number of complex tabletop games, right? That are totally asymmetrical.
No, and I don't have a lot of experience with tabletop games. I'm not as familiar with them. But.
I'm just saying, just because the abilities that the two competitors have aren't the same, that doesn't make it any less of, a competitive game, right? Like there are tons of games that are based on one player is controlling the board and the other player is trying to, take control of the board.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't really competitive games, though, are they? I mean, they're primarily cooperative. Like, the Dungeon Master exists to sort of facilitate an interesting experience for the cooperative group.
I don't know,
right?
like there's
That's
this
generally
it's flexible enough to where you can be really competitive.
True, but I
if you
mean,
wanted to be.
there's a bunch of other like card and tabletop games. Like when I was at Indiecade, I watched some guys play this card game called Netrunner that I guess is an old card game, and they re-released it recently with new art and stuff like that. And it was featured on Rock Paper Shotgun's board gaming thing and whatever. And the whole idea of the game is it's like a cyberpunk thing where one player is like the corporation and they have a bunch of cards they're trying to protect, and then the other player is a hacker and they can play cards to try to break into the other player's deck basically, and they use totally different cards that are laid out totally different ways, but one is controlling, you know, the space and the other player is trying to invade that space, and they have asymmetrical abilities, but it's 100% competitive. It's a zero-sum game where one of those people is going to win and the other is going to lose. And so like, you know, at that point, I don't think, you know, that there's even an argument that the two competitors have to be evenly matched in their abilities or anything, you know? And so...
Or even the same gameplay options.
Because it's just such a spectrum where it's like, all right, well then, you know, the level that you play in a single-player shooter or whatever is being controlled by the computer that is, you know, dictating the systems of how the enemies are going to act when you encounter them and what's going to happen when you hit traps or whatever else, you know, and it's just a further abstraction along what I feel like is one continuous spectrum, and therefore is equally valid as thinking about it as a game. It's just something that you couldn't have done before the advent of computers.
This is the part where I think it makes me a bad person, because it's probably academically worthless, fully emotional way to look at it, but the thing that I think about a lot when I think about games across all spectrum of games is that they are a thing that a human being does, whether or not you're a human being by yourself or with another human being. So to me, a lot of the times, like, and the reason that I don't really give a shit about the definition of this is just, what does it feel like to your brain when you're doing it? If your brain says I'm playing a game, odds are you're playing a game. Like if you, and that's why this is like, it's getting into almost gross, like stupid, like platitude zone or something. But like if you ask a fucking kid, if two or three kids are telling a story together, what they're doing, they're probably playing a game. If they're playing tic-tac-toe, they're probably playing a game. And I know that this is entirely on the academic side, but I mean, the reason that this comes up all the time and is fucking weird is because to your brain, Dungeons and Dragons is a game and chess is a game, even though they're using very different parts of your brain. But I don't know what to say beyond that. But I mean, the existence of the emotional portion of a human brain and the word game and where that intersects all over the place makes this really fucking hard.
We're right on the edge of it. I can tell we're about to answer.
Looking at it that way,
what is game?
What is game?
We're almost there. I can feel it.
Looking at it that way, it almost sounds like that's actually
directly
a more potentially objective way to answer it, right? Because you could actually look, like, with using the power of science.
You could scan a sweet brain.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. You could look at the brain patterns that are going on when people are playing D&D versus when they're playing tennis versus when they're playing XCOM versus
in my
when
experience,
they're playing Quake.
Admittedly only from watching films, when you plug those things into a brain and then you look at it on a TV, it looks like a crazy dog puppet. That at least when you scan Rick Moranis' brain in Ghostbusters.
I don't remember that.
Thanks, Colin.
I apologize for calling the argument stupid earlier, but it strikes me. I feel like
strikes you as stupid.
There's a certain strain of, like, Ralph Koster works entirely on multiplayer games, and, like, I don't know, it just always rubs me the wrong way when someone makes a broad argument that's totally self-justifying and sort of like, the thing that I care about is the only thing that will ever matter.
Oh, sure. I still think it's an interesting thing to consider.
I don't think it's not interesting, but also just seems very...
So because you care about the breadth of the medium, you're going to say that he's full of shit.
But I do think...
It just seems so limited. You know?
I do think the breadth of what those two experiences are, single player versus multiplayer, could become so vast that their lineage is sort of peculiar, and it has a peculiar journey back towards the fact that you could play single player and multiplayer versions of Halo. Like, I think people are, like, I can imagine a future where what a single player, the future projection of what a single player experience is versus the future projection of what a multiplayer experience is are so fucking different that you, when you walk them all the way back 1,000 years, you're like, oh, those are the same thing. But it's, you know,
when multiplayer is nothing but Minecraft clones and single player is Super Hexagon but plugged into your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, really glad actually that was not in the Ruination cast because that was a fun talk. Thanks, Colin.
Thanks, Colin Bayer.
Thanks, Colin Bear.
Are we ready for the next one?
I hope it's as big and as intense as that one.
It's really tempting to jump the queue right now, but I won't. Marco Brezzo asks or says, challenges focused on getting an independent game noticed in a digital marketplace.
Well, they all...
It's kind of easier and harder, right? Like, it's easier because the place you're selling the game is the same as the place you're building awareness of the game, and it's like all the same like medium. You know, you can find communities of people.
You mean the internet?
Yeah.
Okay. Because in most cases, the actual storefront is not where a lot of digital promotion happens.
No. But I mean, like, people will be on a browser and they will be like perusing communities that discuss things like indie games.
Yeah.
Then they can follow a link
and
directly to the place.
Away,
right. And they're on the same machine that they can use to actually play the thing. Definitely. If there's a demo, like, people are fewer steps away from your thing when they're all just on a computer.
Yeah.
But also,
except that your thing is drowning in like nearly infinite
There's an infinite number of them. So you then have to.
But also, I mean,
get noticed.
I think it's also much like the experience that you just described feels like the reason why independent PC and PC Mac, I guess you can whatever development is sort of the most exciting thing to me personally. But like that is such a clean flow that is imaginable and reproducible, and I have done that. But that doesn't exist in like any other digital marketplace to me. The sort of like get into a conversation about a game, dig a little deeper, jump through a link and buy it in the store. Like I've never done that on my iPhone. I've never done that. I've clearly never done that on my 360.
For games or for other stuff, for other kinds of media? You're saying
I'm saying exclusively games. Other
platforms.
platforms, sorry. I didn't mean to say media. Yeah, other platforms.
It does seem like it's a flow that probably happens on people's iDevices. Like where you just read a review of a game or you see a thread about this iPhone game is cool and you just click directly to the App Store link.
I think that sort of that loop is pretty well nailed down specifically for at least iOS gaming because you can link to whatever it is, blah, blah, blah.itunes.apple.com, and it picks that link up and sends it right into the App Store.
And I'm
the weird thing is I don't actually see that happen that often. I guess music, that loop happens sometimes with music, especially now it seems like I see that happening a lot with sites like Bandcamp. But weirdly, I think because TV shows are 1 day delayed digitally or a week delayed digitally, the places where people discuss TV don't actually ever point you to where to buy or consume that thing because they assume that you watched it the night before on broadcast,
right?
Which probably actually is stupid.
Yeah,
it's probably still accurate for most people.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's really, but I mean, it feels like the game community is much more likely to go dig into a conversation about the game because they know the people are going to talk about if it's fun, the mechanics, things like that.
That's not true though. There's like huge internet communities dedicated entirely to just like everyone piles on for this week's Mad Men, but there's no link that says go watch it on Hulu or go buy it on iTunes.
Literally nothing to contribute if you haven't watched it. Whereas in a game conversation, there's sort of it's a little different.
It seems like if there was day and date digital TV, and people who were in press had the ability to have watched it early, the same way that it happens with games, that sort of culture could get built up, though.
Yeah, maybe.
The thing that I feel like though his question was about the challenges of getting noticed in the indie game space, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's
getting noticed in a digital marketplace.
Yeah, and that's sort of getting noticed in a digital marketplace.
Well, I don't think he means physically the store. I think he means just the marketplace of
and the ocean.
Yeah.
Maybe he does though. Maybe he means how do you if your game's on Steam, how do you make it not just overrun by
and that's still gonna
it's basically the same question.
Yeah, that's still gonna all mostly happen outside of Steam.
Yeah.
Regardless. I don't know. I mean the answer is it's really a big, complicated, fucking unknowable. Like, how do you get people to pay attention to anything? Like, I'm sure that that's the same question that everybody asks themselves if you're making a comic book or a music album or whatever. It's like
anything you want people to buy.
It's like it's some intersection of make something really good that appeals to a fairly specific group of people that'll get excited about it and know the right people to tell that group that your thing exists.
With a purely digital product aimed at a community that consumes purely digital things, it seems easier than if it's music that you would sell traditionally or a movie that you were screening somewhere, though, because it's more find the community that you can target, that you can get excited about, and then they start bubbling that up and springing off into whatever other communities they're in to evangelize your product.
Well, but if it is like a Bandcamp thing or whatever, it's all on the computer. It's all web communities getting psyched about it or whatever. Right?
It helps too if this is something you can't really do. You can't really start doing this when you're releasing your game, but I mean, just building up strong awareness and like understanding of the particular communities that are most valuable for whatever thing you're making, like for a long time in advance is like just irreplaceable. There's no substitute for that. I mean, if you can just
knowing your audience is huge, but then also being able to know your audience to the specific drill down of like literally what web forums can I go and talk about this on.
And like ideally having your audience know you even before you actually have anything to sell. But just like if people understand about you that you're someone who cares about this thing and who appears in like whatever these different communities or places are on a fairly regular basis, and like you're just known to be someone who is passionate about this thing, like that'll make your job a lot easier when you actually have a specific thing to put out there.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Scott Hammock says, did you ever find out how old that guy's daughter was? The one who asked if the podcast was the one with the horse bag.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Hey, how old's your daughter again?
I don't know. Did we ever figure that out?
No, I just remember we all thought it was weird if she was a little kid who was listening to Idle Thumbs because we say some really heinous stuff that is horrible, including horsebag conversations. Horsebag's pretty innocent.
Nah.
My mom says hi, by the way.
Yeah, I bet she does.
Wow.
Whoa!
Let's move on.
She didn't really say hi.
I mean, because she's just
Francesca Vanderman said, "Tell Steve hi."
Yeah.
Oh,
She knows scoops.
does she listen to?
I mean,
this?
Patrick. She's big on the Giant Bomb forums.
I'll say hi right now.
Yeah.
Hi, Francesca Vanderman. Hope everything's cool with you.
It's Mrs. Vanderman. That's fine.
What? What?
I'm just kidding.
You replaced her first name with the word Mrs.
Show some respect.
Sorry about that, Mrs. Vanderman.
All right.
Horse.
Listen how begrudging that was. Sorry about that, Mrs.
Vanderman.
Horsebag.
God, yeah. You're like the kid who had to like stay over at the house for a couple hours after school because his parents got home late. So it's like, go to the Vandermans. It's like, I'm sorry about that, Mrs. Vanderman. You got just comfortable enough to be a dick, but had to still be polite because you were only there for a couple hours.
Tell Mrs. Vanderman, thank you for having you over. Thank you, Mrs. Vanderman.
Man, that
And then like, thanks for tater tots.
Like, how far are you into Telegraph Avenue?
89 pages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You basically described a scene from that.
Oh,
book.
really?
Yeah, just now.
Yeah. That's funny. Let's talk about that for a second after the podcast. We don't want to spoil the bookcast.
Let's talk about that on the next Idle Book Club.
She's going awesome.
A monthly book club podcast.
Sorry, this one's going to take a long time. Go ahead.
Okay. Steve Gaynor says, hot scoops.
Oh. Does he
Let's
really?
consider the hot scoop.
Oh, we talked about this earlier when Patrick was on the show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah,
We're
we
done
talked
here
about
then.
Patrick earlier.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Oh, thanks, Steve, for coming on the show.
Thanks,
Hey, Steve.
Wait, was that the last Ruination?
Yes. Oh, we're done now.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, everybody.
What, just for your existence?
No, for that being the way that we have to end the podcast. Thanks for having me on. It was fun. For me.
We all had fun too, Steve.
Oh,
We
cool,
all had
great.
fun watching you have fun.
Good.
As long as you're happy, Steve, that's all that matters to us.
Bye.
Video games.
Games.
We gotta double check those IDs. Episode 79.
Double checking
check
your
those
eyes.
eyes. You got smoke in your eyes.